Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where in today's video, I'm going to take you through my 4 key takeaways from the ACCA SBL examination for the March 2025 pre-seed materials, all about historic places. My name is James, and if you'd like access to my exclusive notes you can see above me, click the link in the description of this video, and you can download a copy yourself. You'll also find down there that I'm associated and affiliated with Astranti, where you can see they've got mock papers, their own pre-seam pack, and students have used these in the past to help them to get the 50 plus and the pass. So make sure you check those out. And for pure transparency, as always, on the channel, if you were to click any of those links, I'd be entitled to a small commission which goes to supporting the YouTube channel, creating the videos, and a massive thank you before we get stuck in for all of your questions. Leave me any comments below. I'm so pleased the videos and the tips help a lot of you out to get that 50 plus from my experience. But we're going to get straight into it. Area number one now for my key takeaways is the charity itself of historic places and how they operate. The first key area you need to go to is on page number 2 that you can see on the right hand side, where we've got the introduction, and the key bits are from the right hand side about ACCA, where they actually operate. And the key bit here is that, yes, we've got and been told about the charitable sector, looking after the sick and disabled people, poverty, preserving history on there. But the main thing on here is that you understand is that historic places, and this is going to be a mistake that some students make on the exam day, is a large charity. It's not a small charity because it operates from more than one site. So again, if you were to mix that up on the exam day, again, you're just going to be throwing away marks. The next key element, which again I think is going to throw a few people off, is under the charity's legal position paragraph, where charities in ACCA are often set up as companies limited by guarantee. A company limited by guarantee does not have any shares or shareholders. It is underwritten by guarantors. So this is where historic places actually has this legal setup, where if you go down to the next part of the background of the charity on page 6, you'll see there that HP is a company limited by guarantee in the second paragraph on the right hand side, and HP's senior management and most of its admin staff are based in the head office in ACCA's capital city. Key things for you to note down there, we're not told what that capital city is, and we are told in the pre-seed notes of a few locations. So again, that could come up on the exam day. In terms of other aspects that are interesting for your notes, it's a long-standing and credible charity founded over 120 years ago. It's a large charity, you can see in the background paragraph up there, because it's got 350 sites and looks after museums, castles, which are over 300 years old. The final element to go with that is, with the 300 years old sort of threshold on there, on the left-hand side, there are 2 large heritage charities in ACCA. I've highlighted them in green and blue on there. Historic Places mainly looks after sites over 300 years old, whereas Living the Past, LTP, that's the only time they've mentioned that charity in the pre-seed note, so definitely something you should refer to on the exam day, only looks after those castles, museums, artifacts, whatever it may be, that they are less than 300 years old. Why is that important? Well, think about it logically. If you've got something that's over 300 years old, that is going to incur more expenses to maintain it and keep it to a fit-for-purpose standard when you get visitors onto the site. So again, there's plenty more to read through. Have a look through the pre-seed notes, but that is my area and key takeaway number 1, the charity itself and how it operates. Number 2 now we're coming on to, if you go to page 7, so scrolling down, we're looking at the charity's actual structure now. We could link it into a sort of corporate structure. On the left-hand side, we have the executive board structure. You've got the usual aspects, the CEO, operating director, marketing, HR, but we're not told about the sort of roles and accountability. Who's in charge? What are the responsibilities for these people? We're also not told their names at all. We haven't been given any names through the pre-seed materials. So again, something for you to note down on there. The interesting part for your notes to take down from a structure point of view is that code of conduct, where we're told that Historic Places has a code of conduct. And this is where the trustees, executive directors, and other paid employees and volunteers are expected to follow. It talks about principles, professional behaviour, adherence on there, confidentiality, but we're not given the code of conduct itself. So possibly that could be given in an exhibit on your exam day. Definitely something to note down in terms of the structure of the charity. And there are a lot more details going into that on page 6 under the governance area you can see on the right hand side. Now the bits in bold, the chair, the nominated trustees, member elected trustees, you've got to get your head around the numbers, or the number of members should I say, of the board of trustees, and also in that first sentence how the charity is structured. HP has a 2-tier governance structure with a board of trustees and a board of executive directors. We've just looked at the board of executive directors. We're not told the names, we're told the roles. And it's the same for the board of trustees. We're given aspects of how they are operating and what they should be doing. But again, we're not told any of the names, but we are told how they are actually nominated and elected. This is where the chair is the interesting one for your notes. We'll just touch on that the chair is appointed by the trustees. So of the 9 trustees, as long as you get 5 out of 9 to vote for you, you become the chair, and you do not have a fixed term of office. So it could just be continuing on and on and on for it. So again, think about that from a governance and ethical point of view. There's going to be something thrown up on the exam day, and I think something about that 2-tier structure, governance factors, maybe some ethics thrown in there, is definitely something you need to get down. So that is my key takeaway number 2, the actual structure of the charity. Area number 3 now for my key takeaways, if you go down to page 8, is all about the risks on here. We're given an actual sort of risk register, and it's maintained at its head office. We're not told by who. So linking back to the structure we've just looked at, which executive director is in charge of this risk register, who's accountable for it. And then we've got the areas like reputation on there, threats to income, the employees and volunteers, financial resources, poor performance, things that you would expect and to break down. But the key takeaway for your notes is there are different areas and models that could be factored in with the actual risks associated here. You'll see on my notes that there are different pestle elements like economic and social factors, and there's also the possibility of the TARA model being introduced here, which is a structured approach to managing risk by classifying the risks into 4 categories. So can we transfer the risk, avoid the risk, reduce the risk, or simply accept it? Again, these are things that when it comes to your SBL exam day, it's take the models, take the theories, apply it to the scenario, and that is how you're going to pick up on marks. With the risk, you've got to link it to other areas of the pre-C notes, and that is where you've got to have a good understanding of the areas that you can see on the right-hand side now, all about the income, expenditure, and challenges. In terms of the expenditure, the highest expenditure the Historic Places has is the site operating costs. These are the day-to-day running expenses, and that is a really important thing for you to be aware of, because they don't want bad publicity, and it's mentioned in the pre-seed notes that they're just wasting money on a variety of different areas of the charity on there. So that's a massive key thing for you to note down. In terms of the actual income on there, we've got membership, admission fees, commercial activities, but this is where it could link into a potential SWOT analysis, that you've got opportunities for new revenue streams, and we're told as well that it's from an economic point of view, the current charity for Historic Places finds itself in a recession with the income levels actually dropping on there. In other words, people who usually donate to charities are thinking, oh gosh, it's a recession, maybe I should keep some of the funds, maybe I could put it somewhere else. That's the sort of gist that we're getting from the pre-seed materials. But that is my key takeaway number 3, risks for the charity. Area number 4 now, absolute must to include this, is the actual financial and non-financial aspects of the charity. I'm going to come down to the page number 5 now, and this is where on the left hand side, I nearly missed this when I was actually going through these notes myself, that we have KPIs on there. I don't know why they didn't put in capital letters KPI, but Heritage Charities Key Performance Indicators, you'll see on the left hand side, are broken down to financial indicators, income, expenditure, operating margins we've just touched on, and non-financial indicators with a bit of a commitment to their members and donors. I should say not a bit of a commitment, obviously, a big commitment on there, but it's the other elements further down: education, conservation, satisfaction, and the environment. So if you see any requirement on the exam day that links into one of those, instantly you've got to be thinking, right, refer back to those KPIs. Is it financial? Is it non-financial? And then how does it link into other areas of the pre-seed notes? Well, if we come down to the website extracts, you can see on the left-hand side, again, refer to the different elements of the charity, that lots of the things on the website align to the KPIs, that they're following the right mission, they've got the right purpose, and it links into sustainability, involvement of stakeholders, conservation, access on there. Finally, we also have the graphs that were given, which are on pages 10 and 11. Just looking at these quickly on the right hand side, we've got income, which is slightly flatlining on there. We're told that membership is the highest split of the income, but the more worrying areas are the operating expenses. And this is where it's really key to wrap your head around, to remember those museums and castles and sites are over 300 years old. You're in a recession, and look at that actual curve on there for the operating expenses. It's increasing, but income is not increasing at the same rate. So margins are going to get squeezed, and therefore you could link it into other areas like working capital management and those other revenue streams that are really, really critical. Lastly, we have on the final graphs, you can see on the left hand side the number of visits, the number of members, again slowly increasing on there, but it's a case of, is there greater opportunity to look at new members, because they actually talk about how they actually recruit members for their charitable donations. That in a nutshell, if you go through someone who is already a member, they're more likely to recommend a friend, a family member, something on those lines, and hence that is going to increase the numbers on there. And that takes you through my fourth key takeaway, the financial and non-financial aspects of the charity that you need to be on top of, along with all of these delightful notes that you can see on the screen. Well, I hope that run through helps ahead of your ACCA SBL exam. Make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a video series to help you all the way through with a full analysis. And if you like access to these exclusive notes, click the link down below to get your copy, along with checking out those Astranti pre-scene packs and mock exams on there. Well, thank you very much. Be sure to give the video a massive like if you found value in it, and I'll see you on the other side now for our next video. So thank you very much.